Welcome to Season 4, Episode 2 of the Georgian Surrogacy Podcast. Hi, I'm Liz Tripodi. Welcome, everyone, to another episode. I'm thrilled to be with you today, and I'm thrilled to welcome my very special guest, who I've been waiting quite a few months to get on to be able to tell her and their story. Lauren, welcome.
Thank you, Liz.
So excited to have you on.
So I'm excited to share my journey with everyone.
And what a journey it has been for you. And I'd like to welcome actually all the new listeners to the podcast. But I really actually, before we get started into Lauren's story, I want to thank those of you that listen to the podcast that I may not have ever spoken to personally, but I have been hearing via various people and via lovely messages and emails and colleagues that people are actually really enjoying the podcast and how much they are finding it really helpful. So I want to say a really big thank you to all the listeners around the world that are just finding this useful. That's the reason why I started it. So, and my God, how much things have changed. So, Lauren, let's take it back. All right. Where do we even start? Do we start with, well, let's talk about how long your journey was to even reach the surrogacy point.
Wow. So we could be here a few years. No, just joking. I'll keep it short. So 27 years trying to have a child, 10 years of IVF, and 2 years of looking for a surrogate in Australia until we decided to go overseas.
Wow, that was quick. That was a quick wrap up. So let me ask you, first and foremost, what road led you to Georgia?
Okay, so we are an older couple. So my partner, Frank, is 50 and I'm 48, and it has been a long journey. So we were starting to run out of time. Our time was our biggest factor. So we joined everything we could, every community that we could. We went to every event that we could, and we almost gave up hope. But we were attending Zooms. My partner, he doesn't like really anything to do with social media, but we were rocking up once a month to do these Zooms, and we had decided, all right, this is the last Zoom we're going to do, and you get put into breakout rooms, and we heard a story from someone we'd never met on the Zooms, and we'd been doing them for almost a year, I think, and we heard this lady's journey about how she got her child, and her journey was almost just as long as ours.
Yeah.
And they had gone to Georgia. And so then we started researching into Georgia. We reached out to this lady and said, can you tell us some more information? And in the meantime, we tracked down Liz. I think we found her on a Facebook page.
Well, that would be me.
Yeah, that would be you. And we actually attended I think it was a live seminar that you had, and was talking about Georgia. And then that just got us hooked. We were like, yeah, this is definitely for us. So let's look further into different agencies and where we're going to go. We were adamant.
And I know you guys did your research. I know that you looked at pretty much every country that was out there. So what made you, apart from speaking to the lady that had already had a journey in Georgia, what cemented you to choose Georgia?
Okay, so one of the biggest things was our names go on that birth certificate.
Yeah.
Which not only is a personal thing, but it's a lot easier for down the track.
Yeah. For
different medical reasons, explaining it to your child, explaining it to other people. Yeah, the main reason was and it was a quick process as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big, long process, and you could pay off in different amounts. You didn't have to have it all up front.
Yep.
Which a lot of people think that they do. We didn't have the money.
Yeah, none of us ever do we?
No. So that was the main reason is that number one was our names were going to be on that birth certificate, and it was quite a quick process.
Yeah. Now, I
And
want to actually congratulate you because I know that you have mentioned that you have been in so many groups, and a really wonderful thing that was in October last year that you were actually a finalist in the Australian Surrogacy Awards for the work that you do in supporting the South Australian community. So, congratulations on that. That's a huge achievement.
thank you. So a lot of people don't see what you do behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of political stuff in this, especially like in Australia. We're such a small community, but at the end of the day, like if you've had a journey, it's good to help other people have that same blessing of actually having a family.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
what it's all about.
Now, let's talk about when did you decide that you wanted to go with me?
Uh, I think was it August 24?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was about then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're in 26 now. See how the time flies.
Yeah.
Did you, after we had spoken, did you automatically think, yep, this is the place we want to go to? Is that how you felt, or did you take some time to think about it?
No, so I think once we attended your seminar, we were like, the next bonus for us was a coordinator in Australia that worked with the clinic over there.
Yeah.
And that everyone was saying communication's really bad over there. To have a coordinator in Australia, it just was the icing on the cake. And someone also that not only was from Australia, but someone that had done the journey. So if you're not in Australia, I highly recommend going with you as well, because you've done the journey
Yeah.
and you've got people through your first clients and that you got them through so quick. No one's ever been able to get their paperwork done as quickly. And it's just because you had us all organised before we even started.
One of my little munchkins has just walked into my office. It's your favorite. Let's just be honest.
Annalise!
It's only Lauren, and I'm doing work. What do you want? You want to see her? Okay. Apologies to the podcast community. She seems to come in at the most inopportune times very quickly because we're talking.
Hey, Annalise, did you have a good day at school?
Do you want to say hello to everyone in the podcast world? Go. Say hello.
Hello.
And what's your name?
Alice.
And did you go to school today?
Yeah.
And you've only just started school, haven't you?
Yeah.
You're nodding? Yeah.
How old are you?
Say it loud because I can't hear you.
I'm 5.
You're 5. Okay. Is there something you want to tell me?
Mommy, I want to be in here with you to get my book as full of
Okay.
all
Here.
this.
Right here. Take this and go. Because
I want to do some.
no, you need to go. Dad, I can hear Daddy's calling you. Out you go. Thank you. Bye. It would get out, please. Apologies, everybody. And I'm not going to go back and edit that because I really don't have the time at the moment with 2 5-year-olds that have just started school.
So with that, I think it's actually that's another good positive is when you first talk to you and actually seeing your girls, that really pulls on your heartstrings and that too.
Oh yeah, they seem to make their way into everyone's group calls at some point in time. Doesn't matter if I'm in the office or like wherever I am, they seem to find me. Okay, I want to talk about something that was really difficult in your journey. And that was getting embryos out of Australia. We haven't even gotten pregnant yet, and we're still at this point. You
But
had
I'm thinking now, like I actually, it must have been before August then that we spoke to you.
it must
It
have
must be.
well,
must have been.
let me think. We found the surrogate Christmas Eve, so I'm just trying to take it back. But let's just talk about look, unfortunately, there are, as it is anywhere around the world, there are great clinics and there are not so great clinics. There are people that genuinely want to help, and there's others that just really couldn't give a stuff. And unfortunately, you had ones that just couldn't give a stuff and made life hell to try and get your own biological material out of the country.
Yeah. So our IVF journey was really difficult, and a lot of things were done wrong,
Yeah.
and they were picked up on towards the end. And all these people had kids. That's the thing. All these people had kids. You think they'd understand, but they don't. So we had to get help to get our embryos out of the clinic.
Yep.
And the transport lady, she went there 3 times.
Yeah.
The first time there was a complication. The second time they said, yep, everything's signed, ready to go. The embryos are packed. We're all ready to go. The lady flew from Melbourne to Adelaide and they refused to hand over the embryos.
Yeah.
The lady waited there 2.5 hours. I was on the phone.
She was about to fly overseas that day as well. You guys were the last stop because I remember that she was trying to give them extra time in case they needed it. And so she rerouted her entire trip to give extra time. And I just remember you just being so defeated, and it was like, are we ever going to get these embryos out of Australia? And I was like, look, it'll happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. But
and everyone did keep saying it's going to happen, but I think the second time that our embryos went to get picked up and the trouble that we had, even though we had jumped through hoops and done all the right paperwork, etc., they still were like refusing. And we honestly were thought like that almost broke us.
Yeah.
We were like, this is the end of the road now. We can't even get our embryos out of South Australia.
And I think that's a really important warning that I actually like to tell people. They ask me, I often get asked a lot these days, do you recommend any clinics? And there are actually clinics that I will recommend because the transport departments are so helpful. And it is illegal to hold people's biological materials hostage. There is, you will hear my thoughts on this in past episodes for those of you that are, regular listeners to the podcast. But I think it's absolutely an absolute rort the way the Australian system treat Australians when it comes to IVF treatments and storage and transportation and the paperwork of embryos. I just think it's absolutely ludicrous that not only have many of you out there spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and Lauren, I know you absolutely could have bought 3 houses with the amount of money that you guys spend on IVF treatment, but the fact that then there is just someone in an office who you are basically trying to suck up to via email because they won't answer your phones, hoping that someone will sign off on your damn paperwork. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Anyway.
So just a bit of an idea, today is the 24th of February 2026.
Yep.
And we, as far as I'm aware, we are the only couple that has been able to get our embryos out of this particular clinic in Australia.
That would be about right, because I had another couple that actually had contacted me, I think it was last year, and decided to go down the donor route in the end. And I think they had 1 embryo and it was at your clinic. And I said, don't even bother. I said, for what the hassle is worth, if you are, set towards going for donor in the long run anyway, you may as well just do it now and save yourself the money to ship out 1 embryo in, even if it can get shipped out. So my point to everyone out there is, do your research, find out which IVF clinics are pro-surrogacy or pro-helpful for actually, and you know what, people ship embryos out for many, many reasons, and it's not just for doing surrogacy arrangements. It could be because you're moving overseas and, you're working there and you want to explore further fertility treatment. It could be that you just want to move them to a different clinic because you're not happy with the service. You have every right to decide what happens with your embryos. So if you are thinking of going through IVF, sometimes sticking with the big names, and I'm not mentioning any big names, but some of them you need to steer clear of because they're the ones who don't look after the patients. They only care about the shareholders. My rant is over for the day about that.
But the other thing is we didn't know we were going to do surrogacy. I thought when we started IVF, we would get pregnant and we never would have to even look at surrogacy. I didn't even know what surrogacy really was until I had to reach it. So, but there are different places you can reach out to try and get help. And yeah, we had 4 embryos. and we managed to send all 4 embryos overseas.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So embryos got to Georgia, and I think they got to Georgia. I think it was around about October.
I think it was actually the start of November.
Was it? Yeah. I don't remember it being very long.
Yeah, no, it was a very quick process.
Yeah. And then tell me what happened that week of Christmas. You were hanging up a decoration or remember?
Okay, so Christmas. So once our embryos got over there, we still had to do like paperwork and make sure that everything was done before we actually got a surrogate or got the surrogacy process. So Christmas Eve, someone sent me a reel about wrapping a blanket up, putting it under the Christmas tree, and the following year you guaranteed unwrap that blanket with a baby in it. And I thought, you know what, we're going to try everything because what have we got to lose? So we did that Christmas Eve. We also my partner and I had a rocking horse, different color rocking horse ornament and put on the Christmas tree and made a wish. And Frank said, oh, we still haven't got a surrogate yet. And I thought we'd get one this year, but let's hope we get one next year. And I kid you not, that was probably about 9 o'clock. It was 10:25 p.m. when Liz called us. And she said, I think we found you a surrogate.
Yeah. Yes, I remember how emotional you were and you just couldn't believe and said it was the best Christmas present that you'd ever been given.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, this time next year, all going well, you guys are going to be parents and you're going to have a baby under the Christmas tree, which is...
And I still didn't believe it.
Yeah, I know you didn't. I know. All right, so let's talk about the pregnancy because you guys had an absolutely rough pregnancy. Your surrogate went through a very difficult time, and that first trimester up to 12 weeks, you guys were faced with a very difficult decision about whether you should allow the pregnancy to go on or not.
Yep. So I think at our 11-week scan, so we'd never got a positive test before. So when we just got that first test to say we're pregnant,
Yeah, you
we were like,
believe it.
didn't believe it. And then I think you have another one like 48 hours later to see if HCG has gone up.
Yep.
And it was still positive. And we're like, wow. But we got to 11 weeks and then it was highly advised that we terminate the pregnancy because they had found a extremely large cystic hygroma, which is like a fluid sac that goes from back of the neck, and ours was all the way along the back.
Yeah.
And it was quite large. So that means, and please don't take offense to this, anyone, but we had to be realistic. We're older parents. We don't have family. So we had to make the right decision for our child. We couldn't leave. If something happened to us, it would be devastating to leave a child in this world that needed their parents or help.
Yeah.
So we were told that a huge chance of being Down syndrome.
Yep.
Or some other syndromes. So if we did a invasive test, that there would be a huge chance of a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And we thought, you know what, if you're going to terminate anyway, you may as well give it a chance.
Yeah.
So we did 5 different tests.
Yeah.
And they all were coming back low risk.
Yeah. And these tests, just for anyone out there, these tests went all the way up until 20 weeks. That's how, some of those results were still coming back at 20 weeks. So these were tests that I'd never seen done on anyone pregnant before. These were really specialised tests that I'd never even seen any friends in the Australian system have done before. The risk was that great for the baby. And I know you and Frank just battled daily, hourly with what to do. You asked me what I thought, and I said, I don't know. Like, I mean, you just don't, none of us knew, not even the doctors knew. And that was what that was what the hardest thing was, is that none of us knew what it was so rare. It was so rare what was going on in this pregnancy that I don't even think Dr. Salome had even seen this happen before in a pregnancy. And she'd been an OB for whatever it is, 13 years or something. So every week was a bonus, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Um,
we got to a good place. It must have been around the maybe 21, 22, 23 mark where things actually started to shrink, didn't they?
so I think by week 21 and a half, we got an email, and it was an absolute miracle that this cystic hygroma had totally disappeared.
Yeah.
There was not any sign of it, and the doctor couldn't believe her eyes. Like, she was like, I've never seen this or heard of this. I've spoken to many other doctors, and this is just unheard of.
And of
But
course,
the baby's fine.
by now we knew it was a girl. And
Yeah,
we knew it was a girl, and you had, you know, it was your little fighter all the
yeah,
way. Every week was an extra week. And all of us were just hoping that just stay in there for as long as you can. Stay in there. Now, your surrogate was hospitalized a good couple of times through the pregnancy.
yeah.
And, we were sort of coasting along pretty well for a good, I don't know, 6 weeks or so. It was pretty uneventful, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we thought we were over the worst, and baby was the correct length, weight. She was looking really nice and healthy.
Yeah. And
And
then,
then, and then, then I owned my own business at the time, and customers would always message me at the most ridiculous times. And Frank woke up just before 4 a.m. on a Sunday, and he was like, "Oh, someone is ringing you on a Sunday, and it's not even 4 o'clock. Who wants their dog washed at this time of the day?" And I didn't really understand what he said. Then he
actually,
came,
can we just clarify that it was 4 a.m., by the way? It wasn't in the afternoon. It was.
I have AM, sorry, AM. I went back to sleep. And then he said, "My phone's ringing. Who's calling me at this time of the day?" He didn't have his glasses on, he couldn't read, so he picked it up. And then he said, "Oh, I think it's Liz, quick." So we quickly sat up in bed smiling like, "Yeah, we're all good." And she said, "Pack your bags. Mia has arrived."
And it was 29 weeks.
And it was 29 weeks.
And so, oh my God, I get so emotional thinking about this. So my parents were down that weekend. I'll never forget it. And my phone went off. And, since I've started this role, my phone doesn't go off now because I can get calls at any time of the night and I need to be able to answer them. And it was my colleague in Georgia. And she said, the surrogate's gone into labor. And then literally 8 minutes later, the baby has been born and here's a photo. And I just couldn't believe it, because you know what? We had only that week, or maybe 2 weeks before that, I had booked your flights to Georgia.
Mm.
We had just done that. Anyway, and I'm trying to ring you. I'm ringing your messenger. I'm ringing your mobile. I'm ringing Frank's. I'm ringing our WhatsApp chat. I'm trying to, and you're not answering. And I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, the look on your faces, and I said, everything's okay. She's okay. She was obviously born at Goodashori, which is the hospital that has the NICU unit, being 29 weeks. And I said, congratulations, your parents.
And I'll never forget what Frank said. Frank said, "It's too early. She has to go back."
Yeah.
And he said, "She's here. She can't go back."
So Mia Olivia was born on that day, and your lives have never been the same ever again.
No.
So that was a Sunday.
Yeah, that was a Sunday.
I was
So,
onto the airline at, I think it must have been 7 a.m. that morning to change your flights,
yep,
and you flew out Monday
that
night.
night. No, we flew out that night.
Oh, was it the same night? Oh, it was
Yeah,
too.
Sunday night. Yeah.
Yeah, and you had a business, you had nothing. You know what? Didn't you had just packed about a week beforehand?
So we had just packed, and we knew we were going to be going into winter,
Yep.
but because it was 11
That's right.
weeks
I
early,
forgot
we were
about
going
that.
into summer. So our Sunday was so quick, even though we were up at 4 a.m. We had to unpack our suitcases and repack for summer.
Yeah.
We had to go and buy preemie clothes.
Yeah.
I had to go and drop the dog off to my dad's, which was an hour away. I spent an hour going through stuff, an hour back, and then it was time to go to the airport.
Yeah.
Like we had just done a big fortnightly shop the day before.
Yeah.
So we had to empty our whole fridge and freezer out because we had no idea what we were going. We were going for 3 weeks. We didn't know.
Yeah.
So we got everything out. And yeah, off we went to the airport.
All right. So tell me, and I know you got to Dubai, you had to run through the airport to get to your connecting flight.
Almost missed the flight because it was such a short
Yep.
time.
And you got to Tbilisi, and tell me what happened next.
So then we got picked up by our driver, and he took us to our accommodation. We dropped off our bags, and we literally got picked up by vans and met us there.
Yep.
And then she took us straight to the hospital. Now this is where I'm going to get emotional. She took us there to meet Mia at the hospital. And we got to see her for the first time.
Yeah.
And she was so tiny. Yeah, weighing 1.3 kilos.
Yeah.
But you could see every bone in her body and that. But and by this time, so when she was born, she was okay. But by the time we got there, like 24 hours later, she needed help with her breathing.
Yeah.
And then they also had to drain her lung because I think her lung collapsed. So yeah, and it was scary. I don't know if anyone's ever been in NICU before, but there were, in her particular room, the high risk, there was like, I think only 6 babies, and they were just so tiny.
And let's
tiny.
talk about, just for anyone who doesn't understand about NICU, there is 3 levels of care when it comes to NICU, most NICU units around the world. Level 1 being the lowest, then obviously then 2, then 3 being the highest risk. Mia was level 3 for 3 months. And Frank and Lauren were at the hospital every single day, 8 to 9 hours a day, literally next to her, and didn't leave her bedside for 3 months. And I have never seen love and dedication like that in that form for what you guys went through. And of course, I was planning to be there for the birth. We all thought it was coming in September. So I still didn't rock up till September, because I was in other parts of Europe before I got to you. But let's talk about what happened during NICU and let's talk about the lows to start with, because there was a lot of medical lows.
Yeah. Well, there was lots of medical lows around us as well, and that was quite disturbing, that, seeing babies stop breathing and that. But little Mia, her head started changing shape dramatically, and it was filling up with fluid. So the ventricles hadn't closed over. So that's in the brain. Everyone's brain produces fluid each day, and your body naturally absorbs it. And Mia's body, because she was born so early, it just wasn't absorbing the fluid. So at 5 weeks, we got told that she would need to have an operation so that they could extract the fluid so it didn't build up and push on her actual brain. So having a 5-week-old baby having brain surgery, it's scary. And that I think it really like just was quite dreamy the whole time until that 5-week mark when I turned around and I just burst into tears as there was a medical team of like 10 people had just gathered in the room to come and collect our little girl. And the doctors that were great. Like, they couldn't speak much English, but they really comforted us, assured us that everything was going to be okay. And this tiny little baby got wheeled out, and yeah, she had her first operation. And anyway,
Sip of water.
that all, it seemed to be working. Like, she was getting ultrasounds done twice a week.
Yeah.
And I would just hold her and they would do the ultrasound scan. And every day we would ask, how is she? And they would just say, stable, stable. And then one day she had been moved to a different room, and then we got there and she wasn't there. And your heart starts pumping pretty hard then. And when they extracted the fluid too quickly, and her blood pressure like dropped, and her little heart like slowed right down, and it was quite scary and that. But yeah, she pulled through. She just fought the whole way. Everything she was faced with, she just kept on fighting. But by a few months went by, and they said, like, you're going to need to have a shunt put in, so another operation, but you can go home to Australia and get it done. We spoke to someone in Australia, as we couldn't get a hold of the South Australian neurosurgeons.
Yeah.
And they said, yep, it's okay to come home. So we booked our flights to come home. And then
how old was Mia then at this stage?
I think she was 3 months, exactly 3 months.
Yep.
And then Liz changed to our flights and that again. We had arranged a doctor would fly with us from Georgia to Australia. And finally, the South Australian neurosurgeon got onto us and said, no way, she cannot fly. She's not going to make the flight. And we were like, wow, we almost put our baby in danger. So it was then decided that we would, we had no choice. We had to do the operation in Georgia. And by this time, like, she had a bit of a character in that. And they had this tiny little bed. They put all the machines and that on there, and they pretty much, because she, at this stage, like, she was fasting and she was crying, and they grabbed her out of my arms, put her on just a corner of this tiny bed and chucked a whole blanket over her. And I was a bit horrified when I first saw that, and I followed. And then as they opened the doors to wheel her down the corridor, I saw this little hand. I took a photo, and this little hand came out, and it was like, it's okay, Mum, I'm going to be okay. I'll see you soon. And the operation was only an hour long, but it was the longest hour. But again, she came through flying colours. Yeah. She just fought the whole time. And it is hard being in another country. But I think we relaxed a lot once you guys came.
Yeah.
We got to see familiar faces, and yeah, you got to see Mia, and we just knew, like, yeah, everything's going to be okay.
And I think one of the hardest things too for me was watching you not take care of yourself, because you got quite unwell as well, and you forgot about your own physical health because, you know, you were exhausted. You were, you know, so worried about your little girl that you forgot to drink, you forgot to eat, your body had been turned upside down, and you were very unwell. So I made you go and get blood tests and go see a doctor.
I ended up in emergency for the day.
Yeah, because I was so worried about you, and thank goodness they gave you, medication and stuff to make you better. And I said to you, you can't be there for Mia if you don't look after yourself first and foremost, because you were just exhausted.
And I think also I'd wanted this for so long, and then it had arrived, and we didn't have time to think. Like, we didn't have time to have those first cuddles and enjoy being parents. It was, I couldn't hold her for the first few weeks and that.
The guilt, it's the guilt that gets to you. And even now, I still, 5 years later, still feel guilty that we didn't get to see Annalise for 5 weeks. We didn't even get to see her. They wouldn't even
Yeah,
let us into NICU because of COVID. Five
yeah.
weeks we couldn't see our little girl.
And you do, like, even just leaving him overnight, like, I was worried, like, I have to leave her with strangers and that overnight. And the stress also was like her oxygen levels like kept on dropping. So for a few months, we were glued to that monitor to make sure that her oxygen was okay. And a few times the doctors had to rush in and take over and stuff. And it was hard on that.
Yeah.
And you do forget to look after yourself. You kind of like just go into overdrive and just go, well, I'm a mum now and I have to look after my family.
Yeah. And of
So,
course, let's not beat around the bush, because you know me, I want to be honest about everything on this podcast, but financially, this absolutely wrecked you,
yeah. So,
because no one expects to have a baby come at 29 weeks,
no,
number one. And, you know, you can take out insurance, but, you know, for whatever reason, it was something that we didn't really look at the time, you know.
you think you don't need it?
No, that's right. And I always recommend it if people are having twins, but normally with singletons, you know, the pregnancies are pretty straightforward. So unfortunately, you guys ended up being out of pocket to a massive amount of money, because of course you had to pay for all the surgeries, and you had to pay for every single day that she was in level 3 NICU, which of course is the highest cost that you can imagine. So what did you end up spending on hospital? Was it 100,000? What was the rough end
No,
figure?
it's just that Frank was actually asked this question just on the weekend from a surrogate in Australia, and it came to like over 250, I think it was over
Really? In Australian
250,000
dollars?
in Australian dollars.
I didn't think it was that much for some reason.
Yeah. So and we didn't have, like, if you say have you got that money, the answer is no.
No,
We
that's
didn't
right.
have family to ask for money. Both Frank and I, we didn't have super to get. So what were we going to do?
Yeah.
Luckily, we were ahead with our mortgage repayments over the years. So we actually just withdraw it all from our mortgage, and we just went literally from day to day.
Yeah.
We didn't know how long we
No
were
one
going
expects
to.
to have a child so early. And this was at no fault of anyone's. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't the fault of the embryos. It wasn't the fault of the transfer. It wasn't the fault of the surrogate. It wasn't, you know, the fault of the doctors. This was unfortunately a really rare situation and really rare occurrence. But you know what, Lauren, I've got to say, I know this sounds really stupid to say, but you will understand why I will say it. If anyone was going to get through this, it was you.
I think I have my mum to thank for that.
Yeah.
I almost 11 years ago, I lost 12 family members in 13 months. And one of them was my youngest brother. And
Yeah.
then 5 months later, I lost my mum.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was going to get through life. Like, I had almost given up. But it was through my mum that got me through those other deaths that I knew I had the strength just to keep going. And I now had a child that I'd wanted for so long. They were relying on me. I mean, they're going to be relying on me for the rest of their life.
Well, you know,
So I have to just keep
Mia is
going.
a fighter just like you, and she has your strength and your tenacity and your spirit. I'm not taking anything away from Frank, of course, because I love him, but, you know, those.
So my partner, he comes over quite tough and handle anything, but he, even just through the pregnancy, he had to have a lot of annual leave. He didn't cope. And even like when we were in Georgia, I think there was like, he had like maybe 2 weeks where he couldn't go to the hospital, and that he was just so stressed, and that
He was
like
so strong throughout everything and so positive, and he always looked for a better day. It's okay. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. It's okay. We're going to get through this. It's okay. He had such an amazing attitude. He has such an amazing attitude on life and on life's little problems. But yes, everyone does break at some point. And that
yeah,
is not a weakness. That is sign of a good person.
yeah. And that's it. We had not just, so the financial was quite stressful, but then also seeing your child so sick and being helpless not to be able to help them.
Yeah.
And even hold them, like when Mia was having the operations, like we couldn't hold her, and that after, you just feel helpless, like, and you're just watching her take every breath and hope she takes the next one.
Yeah.
That's quite
And
stressful.
then let's talk about how long after that shunt was put in that you guys got to, hear those magical words. Actually, let's just backstep this a bit. So birth certificate was applied for the day that she was born, or the next day that she was born, because she was born on a Sunday. We got that back within 3 days.
Yeah.
And then during the weeks, obviously,
So it was a little while after that. Like we were in no hurry.
Yeah.
Because we were told like Mia had to get to a certain weight before she could even think about leaving the hospital, etc. And that was if everything went to plan. So we didn't apply for citizenship straight away.
Yep.
But once we all up, like it was not even 3.5 weeks from the time like we got birth certificate, citizenship, and then Frank was back from Turkey.
Yeah.
With the passport.
Yeah.
So it was a very quick.
We do have to thank Chachava's relationship with the
Most
consul
definitely.
general in Ankara for being able to get a rush passport for you guys to be able to get Mia home. So after the operation, is that when we had the priest come? Was it after the op? Or but no, it was before the op. It was before the op, because then I was home. I had to fly home. So we had a lovely priest come to the hospital, and we had a beautiful, special little ceremony with just you guys and Mia and my husband and myself and my twins, and we're all there in our masks and our little blue booties in the NICU room. They gave us our own private room, and the priest came, and Mia was
baptized. Yeah.
And that was beautiful. And we had the christening candles and a really lovely little service from the priest. Father was amazing.
Yeah.
And he was, it was very, very special. And I had hot candle wax dripping over my fingers because I was holding the candle.
And so that was the first time Mia had actually been out of that NICU as well. So it was a really special day. We got to wheel her in a little bed down to this private room. And
well, hang on, you had to go shopping for a christening dress and you couldn't find anything small enough.
Yeah, she was so tiny. And even Liz bought these tiny little booties.
Yeah.
And they were miles too big for her, but we made them fit.
Yeah. So then you got the okay to fly back to Australia, and that was about what, 2 weeks after her op? Was it two?
So 2 weeks after her operation, she got discharged from hospital, and they wanted us to do a test run to make sure she was okay before we flew. So we took her for 5 days to our accommodation.
Yep, which was Naluna, which you've talked about in a previous episode.
Yep, highly recommend. Like, there's no other place. You have to go to Maluna. And that also is really good for support as well. new parents and that. So yeah, and they have a nanny service, but we weren't allowed to use that because she had just come out of hospital and that, and it was high risk. So we had her in our room, and we slept down the opposite end of the bed and watched her bassinet all night for the first night.
Magical.
And yeah, and then we had to take her back for our checkup. I think it was 24 hours before our flight. She'd put on weight, and yeah, everything was good.
And of course, for anyone that doesn't know, to be able to fly home with a baby that has had surgery or anything like that, there is certain documentation that you must get. And I do have to say, a big thank you to Dr. Sharena, even though she'll never listen to this podcast, but Dr. Sharena at Good Ashori, who is the head of the NICU unit, she also looked after my twins. That woman was writing a report at 6 a.m. on a Sunday, to help get Mia home. Amazing woman.
Yeah, she was great. And then she was like just being very unusually quiet, and she smiled and she said, "Good luck, bye." And we started walking down the corridor, and as we turned, all the nurses and doctors were there clapping to say goodbye to Mia. It was quite emotional.
Yeah. Can you have a sip of water or something, please?
And yeah, and then we got ready, and we went to start our big journey home, which was scary in itself because we were told we didn't need a doctor with us, so we were flying by ourselves. And our first flight, I think, got cancelled like 5 hours. So we were sitting at the airport, and then yeah, we did the first flight to Dubai.
Yep.
And again, we thought, like, we made sure there was like lots of time, but because of the flights and that got delayed, again, we were racing to our next flight.
Yeah.
And finally we got on there, and yeah, the people on Emirates were very accommodating in that. And
tell me how you felt after stepping onto Australian soil with your daughter for the very first time.
So I think we had to get through customs, and I was worried about going through customs, even though you're not doing anything wrong in that. We had milk products, and I know that's a big thing for Australia, and we had medication that for Mia, and
of course she had a shunt in her head as well.
Yeah, she had a shunt. Yeah, so she wasn't allowed to go through like the metal detectors and that. We have a passport now that she doesn't have to go through metal detectors.
Yep.
I have to also be careful at the supermarkets and that too with the detectors.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd watch those stupid shows on TV and that, and I was packing death going through customs, even though I was not guilty of anything. And the guy just looked at me and he said, "Oh, you guys are coming home. Good luck. See you later." And I think once I couldn't walk fast enough to get out to the opening.
Yeah. And
as soon as I saw friends and family, that was just like, I'm finally home. We made it. We made it back, and we now have a beautiful, beautiful daughter.
And let's talk about how she's going. So you had lots of appointments when she first came home, obviously.
Mm-hmm. So when we got off the plane, we were going to take her to the hospital, and then they said, "No, we'll see you the next day." And then they rang and did a phone interview, and they said, "No, seems like the flight went fine. We will see you on Monday," which was like 2 days later.
Yep.
And everyone at the hospital knows me by name now. And people just look at me like, how can they know your kid's name?
Yep.
But she's obviously got an incredible story, and she's just always like smiling, and they have prepped us for the future and meeting different milestones and that. And she just continually is determined to just prove everyone wrong.
Absolutely, she is.
Yeah, she's such a good baby.
It's incredible to see because she is 7 months old now.
Mm-hmm.
But
7 months, son.
Yeah, Earthside, but corrected age, she is
Almost 5 months.
Yeah, almost 5 months old.
Yeah.
And she is the most beautiful little girl. She's starting to chat. I know that you told me this week that she's enjoying her solids. She's moving on to, pouches and mashed up food and things like that. And she did take a little bit of time to get used to her bedroom. You put her in with you for a while, didn't you?
Oh, no. So she still is with us.
Okay. I thought she'd gone to her room now.
Yeah, no. So that is, last week we got told to upgrade her from her little bassinet because she was ready, because she'd started rolling, but we can't fit a cot in our bedroom.
Yep.
And we're still a little bit paranoid, like with her breathing and that, even though everything's been fine. We just want to keep her that little bit close to us that little bit longer. So we have upgraded her bassinet. It's huge now. And just so that I check her throughout the night quite a lot.
Yeah. And how are you on a few different levels? How was your first Christmas?
Absolutely amazing. For a good 10 years, like Frank and I had lived a life of, and we were told to do this during our IVF journey, as if our children was already there. So we had for years gone, Christmas time, once we get kids, we'll do this, we'll do that. When it's Easter or when it's birthdays and we have kids, we'll do this. And to actually finally, every year would go next year we're going to finally have our kid. Next year we'll have our kid. And we felt like forever that we'd said that. And finally this year, she was here. And yeah, it was just like it was complete and like she'd always been there.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's the most amazing feeling, and you just can't. And you'll never forget about what got you to this point. And I know that you guys have got a lot of challenges ahead, but my goodness, if anyone is going to take life by the balls and run with every opportunity, it's going to be your little girl.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Let's talk about what the future can hold. I know that the doctors have said certain things to you, but Mia's already proven them wrong. So let's talk about that.
She's just determined to prove everyone wrong. We see a physio at the Women's and Children's every 4 weeks, and she gives her like little bits of homework to do to just keep her moving forward. They've also advised like that we do lots of activities. So we do like a sing-along baby mums, parents and babies group once a week. We do baby yoga, and people think, oh, how come you're just doing those things? But it's all for mental development.
And I take my hat off to you, Lauren, because I've got to say, from the very first day that Mia was born and that you were with her, you sang to her every day.
Yeah.
You told her stories every day. You read to her every day. And I'm a huge believer in exactly with what you said as well, that child development literally starts from, the minute really. And it's proof and well done to you, because she has picked up on all of that, and that has made her a stronger and smarter girl because of that.
Yeah, and so they say that you should start even when you're pregnant, singing and talking to them, using their name.
Well, none of us have been able to be fortunate enough to be able to do that.
And I was worried, and I do remember saying to you at one stage, like, can we get talk to the surrogate about using her name? And she was born like a few days later.
Yep.
So that never came across. So literally from the day I met Mia, I have talked to her who I am and who she is. I talk about her grandma that is no longer with us and her uncle, and I use lots of people's names as if she knows who they are.
Yeah.
And done her counting and her days of the week and ABCs. I swear she's going to know it. As soon as she can talk, she won't say mum and dad, she'll do her ABC.
Oh, I agree with you on that, because you were singing the ABCs from the minute she was born, and I'm telling you now, she's going to know them backwards. She's going to be able to sing that song backwards because of you.
Yeah. So, and every day, like I read her like books from even when I was young, and I always say like, Grandma read this book to Mummy when I was your age, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, like, she started to roll now. They didn't expect that to happen. She's lifting her head. They didn't expect that to happen. Like, it's just incredible.
Yeah. And a lot of this has just happened through being consistent. And, you know, we get tired, and I see people give up a lot in life and that. And I just know I never gave up on my journey of having a child. I've been talking about being a mum since I was 6 years of age, and I'm 48 now. So I don't want her to give up in life. And I have to be a role model to show her, you know, no matter how tired we are, we just got to keep going. We're going to do each step each day.
You're an inspiration. You are absolutely incredible. I'm telling you now, you are one amazing woman, and I am so proud of you. I'm so proud of Frank. I'm so grateful for our friendship. I am so grateful to have Mia as part of our family, and I'm just grateful that the universe sent you the most wonderful, perfect little girl that has defied all the odds and will continue to defy all the odds, because she doesn't deserve any less than that.
Yeah, definitely.
So let me ask you, what advice would you give to somebody starting on this journey?
Get as much information as you can as possible.
Yeah.
And try and block out all the noise behind you, and know that like you can reach your goals. You just have to keep moving forward. And sometimes there are things that pop up, and you just got to think of it as you're going a different way around than everyone else. And yeah, like I know for myself, like we chose Java because we looked at all the other clinics. We actually interviewed them, and we still kept on coming back to Java because of such a high success rate. Even though you know it might not work the first time or second or third, they pride themselves in their work. And Mia was our first embryo, like that stuck. 2018 she was created and born in 2025 July. So yeah, just do your research and don't give up.
And I know that you are very happy to support others in the community around the world. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, they can follow you on Instagram. It's Mama Mia. It's Mia's mama. If no one catches that, if you find me on Instagram, you'll find that I'm following Mama Mia. It's Mia's mama. Or otherwise, you can also find Lauren on Facebook. Do you want to tell them what to look up to find you?
I think it's just Lauren Mitchell. And
What's the photo of? Is it with Olivia the dog?
no, so I've got a photo of my border collie Danny.
Yep.
And I also have Mia, but you'll be able to see on it's a public Facebook profile, and it's just my journey of. It has lots of videos of Mia, but at the end of the day,
I've got to say, Lauren, you write the most beautiful posts. You were you good at English at school? Because I'm telling you, you should be a writer. The way that you write is incredible. I love it. I love the words that you choose. I love the way you try and include the community. I love the way that you talk about your experiences. It's just beautiful writing.
And I think someone said to me, "Oh, people are going to get sick of seeing baby videos. Like once you get a little bit older and that." Someone said it.
Yeah, well,
but my story, it's not one that you see every day.
Yeah.
Mia's story is not one that you see every day, And it is about never giving up on your dreams.
Yeah.
No matter what, like some people try for a baby, 6 months, they're pregnant, 27 years. And you just, every road bump, every brick wall we hit, and we hit them hard. And we just had to go a different way around and to finally get to the destination. And it's well worth it. As you can hear, she's woken up.
I can't hear her.
But she's well worth everything.
She's so loved, and
So loved.
yeah, absolutely so loved. And you know, it's an honor for me to be part of your family, and as Mia grows up, to be there for her and to be there for you guys. And I am just so thankful that whoever was looking after Mia from above, whether it was your mum or your brother or, you know,
or my dog.
Yeah, or your doggies.
Yeah.
But she has been looked after from day one.
Yeah.
And when she was that tiny, tiny, tiny little speck of a cell, she has been absolutely watched over from day one. I can't thank you enough for giving your time today and being so open and so honest and sharing your story with the community. I can only wish, you know, on behalf of everyone that's listening, and I know that they'll feel the same, that we just wish Mia good health and, well, lots of love, but she already has that, but she can have more. And to the three of you, and whatever might happen in the future, you never know, there could be more babies. Anything's possible. But to wish the three of you at the moment are very joyous and happy and, yeah, safe life together, and just enjoy every minute. And I know you are. I know you're just loving every minute of being a mama.
Yeah. Definitely the days go very quick. But yeah, if you want to reach out, please, I encourage you to reach out, because if I didn't get out of my comfort zone and reach out to someone that I heard their story, then I wouldn't have Mia here today with me.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Lauren, and thank you so much, everybody, for listening to another episode, and I will catch you next time.